1310 WICH with Fishing Today. Whether it's in the ocean, on the pond, in the stream, or off the dock, it's all about fishing. Let's join Jesse Roach with Fishing Today on 1310 WICH.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Fishing Today on WICH. A beautiful Saturday. And Glenn O'Brien on the other side of the glass today.
Oh, hey.
Joining us is Rick is off. Was he vacationing in Hawaii or something?
He's gone fishing.
I
have
tell us
no
all about
idea.
it next week. But
he mysteriously disappears once in a while. He's like Jimmy Hoffa like that.
And also, a guy who's done some high adventures on the seas of all sorts, which we'll hear about today. Nick Tokman joining us.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. And as seen on the show Deadliest Catch on Discovery Channel, on the fishing vessel Northwestern with Sig Hansen at the helm. And a very interesting show. And the finale is coming up this Tuesday night.
Yeah, that's correct. It's the last episode. So actually, I should say I started on the Northwestern, went to the time pit, and then now I'm with Jake on the Saga this year.
Mr. Jake Anderson.
Yep, Jake Anderson, yep.
All sorts of great stories coming out. And he was also, if you're not familiar with the show, Jake was a deckhand. He started off as a deckhand on the Northwestern, moved right up the line, and got himself an opportunity on the Saga. And it's a great show. If you haven't checked it out, that's Deadliest Catch on the king crab and opilio and snows and all that stuff up there on the high seas. But we'll talk about that. First, into the weather and the fishing news, as there's some new commercial regulations with some quotas with the smooth dogfish shark for you commercial fishermen out there. So, Glenn O'Brien, take it away.
All right, effective in March of 2016, as of March, Connecticut now has a commercial smooth dogfish quota of 6,195 pounds. As of July 21st, 5,562 pounds of smooth dogfish has been reportedly landed in Connecticut. When the department estimates that 100% of Connecticut's quota has been landed, the smooth dogfish possession limit will be reduced to 0 pounds. Now, currently, there's no possession limit for the harvest of smooth dogfish here in Connecticut. Between the beginning of January and the middle of May, about 1,500 pounds of smooth dogfish were landed. A period of rapidly escalating landing occurred between May 15th and June 18th, when an additional 4,000 pounds were landed, and since then, a very small amount of that has been landed. The department continues to monitor landings and will notify fishermen when the quota has been harvested. Addendum 2 to the Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission's Coastal Shark Fishery Management Plan implemented a coast-wide quota for smooth dogfish, Connecticut's share of which is 6,195 pounds. NOAA Fisheries will close federal waters to the harvest of smooth dogfish when 80% of the coast-wide quota has been harvested. State waters may stay open until their state-specific quota has been harvested, at which time they have to close their fishery. Any state coverage must be deducted from the following year's quota, regardless of coast-wide quota status. And for current commercial fishery trip limits and quota status, you can call this number 860-434-6374. You can call it 24/7 for a recorded message of current possession limits, or you can see the website ct.gov/deep/TL. And there is your fishing news. We've got that, and we have your marine forecast and weather conditions as well. And on Long Island Sound today, northerly winds around 5 knots, becoming southeasterly late this morning and early afternoon, and then becoming southerly later on. Seas 1 foot or less, patchy fog early this morning, a slight chance for showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. Visibility 1 to 3 miles early this morning, then 1 to 3 this afternoon as well. Tonight, southerly winds, southeasterly winds 5 to 10 knots, seas a foot or less, chance of showers and thunderstorms. For Sunday, winds from the east at 5 to 10 knots, seas a foot or less, and then 1 to 2 feet in the afternoon, chance of showers and thunderstorms then. Visibility 1 to 3 nautical miles. Sunday night, easterly winds 5 to 10 knots, seas 1 to 2 feet in the evening, then a foot or less, a chance for showers, visibility 1 to 3 nautical miles. Sun rose in New London, 5:43 this morning. Sunset will be at 8:07 p.m. The next low tide will be at 1:17 this afternoon. The first high tide was at 6:53 this morning. The next high tide set for 7:24 p.m. Old Saybrook, the next low tide at 2:02 today, and the next high tide at 8:35 this evening. Barometric pressure at 29.91 inches and holding. The moon rose in the northeast at 2:33 this morning. It will set in the northwest at 5:20. The next new moon will be on August 2nd. And there it is, your marine forecast, observations around the area. Back to Jesse.
Yeah, the new moon coming on August 2nd, that's a significant thing for kayak fishermen, especially if you're in the mouth of like the Connecticut River, if you want to be out on a reef where there are particular rips, because it's a very strong tide. So if you're out there on a kayak and on August 2nd, just watch your tides. So that's why we do that. And it also affects the fishing, too. So some interesting information you can find out online. And tidesforfishing.com is a pretty cool site because it gives you all that moon phase stuff and barometric pressure and all that, and it tells you why. And it really helps you get on fish. So the more you know, the better you fish. So we're going to take a break, but we'll be back. And Nick Tokman walks us through coming from Springfield, Massachusetts, a local New Englander, just like all of us, and just like all of us said, you know what? I could do that. I could do that. That's what I want to do. And you know what? He got there. And I know a lot of people who watch the show, that's what they're on their mind too. And he'll give you the formula. It's a secret. We'll find out right here on Fishing Today on WICH.
Hi, it's John Mancini from Eastern Savings Bank. On behalf of my coworkers, I'd like to tell you about 100 ways we'll be making a difference over 100 days this summer in our community. Because we believe community matters. Look for our E-Team in their green around town now through September doing all sorts of good deeds. Plus, Hump Day Hundreds are back. That's right, we'll be giving away $100 every Wednesday to one of our lucky ATM users. Stop by your nearest Eastern Savings Bank branch, visit eastern-savings.com, or follow us on Facebook. Member FDIC.
Hi everyone, Joyce Hart here from Hart's Greenhouse. As a thank you to you for our best year ever, we are having our biggest mega sale yet on Friday, August 5th from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. All 4 of our Hart's locations will be celebrating our 15th year of mega sales, and we will have the biggest discounts of the year. Here are just a few of the deals you can scoop up. Herbs and annuals are $1. Hanging baskets starting at $5. Perennials $2 and $4. Pottery, statuary 40% off. Trees and shrubs will be 30% off. Check out our tag sale area for super bargains. This is the sale you don't want to miss. Bring a friend, bring a wagon, and haul it all home. Sale runs this Friday, August 5th from 3 to 7 p.m. All of this at all 4 Hart's locations. Route 6 in Brooklyn, Route 14 in Canterbury, Clinton Avenue in Norwich, and at the intersection of 2A and 117 in Preston. Look for our famous big pink petunia hanging baskets out front. See you Friday at Hart's.
Back to Fishing Today on WICH, also a podcast available after the show at WICH.com. Go to our fishing page. And then you can find all of the podcasts from all of the different shows there. And it's also at Mixcloud is where we have the podcast. So check it out. And with us now, Nick Tokman. And thanks for coming down here, live in studio, not even on the phone. Made that trip.
You're welcome.
And so walk us through it now. I mean, we have a limited amount of time. We only have 20 minutes, but we want to get as much information in. How did it go from Springfield, Mass., to these big crab boats and right down to the Saga, which we are now? So how did all this happen?
Right. Well, actually, it started out, I wasn't really at a happy point when I was in college, and I was on break. I was at my grandparents' place. My grandfather introduced me to Deadliest Catch. It looked like fun. I really wanted to try it. So basically, I bought a plane ticket up to Alaska and went up there. But, of course, initially my family wasn't happy with my decision because, of course, with the show, they thought it was a very dangerous job, that I can get killed, and everything. And so they initially did not want me to go up, and they also thought that I was going to drop out from college if I went up. So they were really against me for going initially. But then I got a friend of mine actually gave me the confidence to go back up. She told me a story basically about a guy who for years kept jogging up and down the streets in Montreal. That's where I went to school initially. and said, basically, this guy, he tripped on the curb and hit his head a certain way, and he died. And she said, you could be up there, you can get hurt, or you can be over here, you can get into a car wreck. You can get hurt here or there, it doesn't matter. But at least if you're up there, at least you'll be living. And I thought about that. I read about this one book, and there were a bunch of questions that were saying basically what's the worst that can happen if you did what you considered. List your doubts, fears, what ifs that pop up, and all these questions. And then, what I realized is that if the worst actually happened, I could deal with it. I could, bounce back, and be back on track. And the benefits of more probable scenarios outweighed the negative. And that basically gave me the confidence to go back up. And, I stood up against my family to go up there, and then I did. I went up there. I didn't have a place to stay or a job or anything like that. No one wanted to hire you because, A, they didn't know if I was a drinker or a druggie. B, they didn't know if I was a hard worker. And C, because of the maritime law, if it did not work out, they'd actually have to buy my plane ticket back to Massachusetts and return me to the port of hire. So they didn't want to take that kind of risk on me.
So that's an investment before they even know what they're dealing
Yeah. So, I just literally bought a plane ticket up there and went up there. And basically after I, staying in a shelter, I was staying at random people's houses, working for several crazy people and everything. 4 years later, I got on the dreamboat that got me up to Alaska, the Northwestern.
Mm-hmm. But how did you go? Let's say, here people do that, and
Right.
like Massachusetts and some of our fishing ports, Stonington, these kids want to. I want to go, so they'll just hang around the dock, and
Okay.
then and then hopefully maybe even volunteer work for free.
Right.
I mean, how did you prove yourself to get on the water? How did that happen?
Right. Well, initially, when you get on a crab boat or something, you have to, I guess, earn your stripes, like in any industry or anything. You can't just jump on a crab boat normally. You have to, do salmon seining. You have to do gill netting. You have to have some kind of fishing background to start with, and then they'll look at you. So, before I hopped onto a crab boat, I was doing salmon seining. I did gill netting. I did salmon tendering. I did long lining for halibut. I did cod jigging, and then I got a resume for being in the fishing industry. I got my references built up, and then I was able to, step up and try to apply for a job on a crab boat.
Nice. And and then I guess that's where people would also find out if they had what it takes in themselves. I was talking to Josh Harris about, for example, the cold. Even in the summertime doing salmon fishing, it gets cold, sometimes I hear. And then so that's, I guess, where you yourself have to figure out your body and if you could even deal with it or not, and before you move into anything that's even crazier.
My first time, I did pot cod, which is very close to crab fishing. It's just on a smaller boat and closer to shore. It doesn't have the crazy weather, but basically, if you can do pot cod, there's a good chance you can do crab fishing. And my first time, I actually failed at it. I never worked a 19, 20-hour day in my life. Basically the next morning, I couldn't even open up my hands. I had to pry them under like a kitchen sink under hot water just to open them up. They were literally feeding me energy drinks just to sustain me. It actually is a hard job. And then I failed at it. And then 3-4 years later, then I wanted to see if I had it in me again to do it. And I basically trained my body for it, and I succeeded in. And I finally did it like 3-4 years later. But the most important thing, I think, it's more of a mental thing than anything. You know what I mean? But I'm from here. I'm from West Springfield. I never worked like crazy waters like that. But
yeah, and then if you going from the different crab, you must need to know a lot of knots, right? That's.
The main ones you need to know: bowline, clove hitch, carrick bend. Those are the three main. And then you got your sheep's bend. I know a few. But those are the main ones that you really need to know. I could probably tie a bowline behind my back in like less than 4 seconds if you give me a line. Those are the main knots you really need to know. You just got to be proficient at a few. But there's others that I know.
And getting to the show now, we have the season finale coming up this week on Tuesday night, and there's probably a pre-show to go with it, the bait and that kind of thing. And but the season so far, you have it's been pretty crazy. Northwestern with the fire, and then good and into that channel that they have to get into, and then obviously the Saga is Jake, which you're a part of. That's he's going through some stuff. How's it been for you? What do you think?
Well, this season it was pretty tough. it was a lot of breakdowns on the boat. I mean, the Saga was basically, before Elliot, got it, and then Jake, got it. It was sitting in the harbor pretty much.
Yeah, it was an old boat to begin with.
Yeah, so I mean, literally, the bottom in the bilge wasn't really maintained properly. I mean, literally, you could take a bucket just of rust, like a garbage, like a 50-gallon bucket of rust, just like put it all in there, and you can haul it up. I mean, it's all rusted out. The pipes are kind of worn. The pumps are not working properly. I mean, we had to replace like 3-4 crab pumps on the boat. It was a nightmare on that. The hydraulics gave out. I think in one episode that was showcased. I mean, when Jake first got the boat, I mean, there was a puncture in one of the keel coolers, so the salt water was going through the generators and the engines and everything, and that was a nightmare. There was a huge hydraulic leak out on deck. So, I mean, we were burning through clutches like nobody's business, so we had to keep replacing that. Jake did a lot of work to the boat as of right now, but initially when he got it was a real nightmare. Now it's starting to get more...
Become back to a working vessel.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that's... talking about that's probably a lot of stuff. I mean, people watch the show, and it's all the exciting stuff.
Yeah.
But then there's what comes with that, which is a lot of unexciting stuff and probably more technical, mechanical than fishing to begin with.
Right.
I mean, even from preparation for going on the boat, you work 20 hours on deck on the water. It's probably a 20-hour day on land before you even go to the water. Talk about some of that. I mean, that's
yeah. I mean, literally, I got up September 18th with Jake and another guy, and we were working we started working at 8, 9 in the morning. We'd go to bed at like 4 or 5 and just go around the clock fixing stuff in the engine room, all different sorts. I mean, there's a lot of prep work, and then also too, our gear wasn't in the best shape. I mean, it's like the pots have a lot of holes, a lot of welds need to be made. I mean, you got 170 pots that need to and like maybe like 70 or 80 of them need to be rewelded, and they got to be sewn up. I mean, the webbing's not as tight. So yeah, you're gonna have a lot of work to do. I mean, that took about week and a half, 2 weeks in itself, and that was with 5-6 guys trying to tackle it down. So there was a lot of prep work that's not shown. I mean, literally what they got to take everything and condense it down in just within a few minutes. So a lot of that stuff isn't really shown.
Yeah. And so someone's watching the show, someone right now, and I would recommend being younger. This is a young man's profession.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to go out there, especially if you have any aches and pains and back issues. Because you'll get those anyways, I'd imagine. But what would you recommend to a kid who said, I just got out of high school, I really like that, and even if they understand they have to pay their dues, how should they start paying their dues? Like, what would you recommend after you've done this now? What would you say to someone who's trying to do this?
If I were to recommend someone to do it, if they really wanted to do it, first off, I would say do it wholeheartedly. I mean, it was a great experience for me. If even in the rough patches, if I had to do it all over again, I'd do the same thing.
You're still living.
Yeah. Oh, it was amazing. It was an amazing time. I mean, my first home was a tent in Fort Abercrombie. I literally stayed there for 2.5 weeks, but I would just tell a person to buy a plane ticket, go up there, have maybe about $2,000-3,000 in your pocket at least. Not like me, I had probably a little, maybe almost 1,000. So, but yeah, I would go up there and just start walking the docks. I'd say if you want to get a salmon seining job, I'd show up about mid-May. You can try to call. You can get a list of contacts from the Commercial Fishing Entries Commission and start calling, but no one's really going to hire you because of those 3 factors. I mean, also too, because if you don't work out, because according to the maritime law, they have to return you to the port of hire, so they'd have to buy your plane ticket all the way back. So they're not going to take that risk. So I would say, going up there about mid-May and just start walking the docks and start off with salmon, work your way up, and then go to long lining and then like gill netting and all that, and then after once you got your resume built up, then if you got good references, then go try to apply on the crab.
Yeah. Hey, maybe just say, hey, I love cod fishing and become a cod fisherman.
But pot cod, if you can do pot cod, you can do. There's a good chance you can do that. It's actually more of a grind, but it's not the crazy rough weather as much, I would say. So, and then that starts in September. So if you really want to try yourself at that, I would go in mid-August to try to start looking for a job on a pot cod boat. But that's real. You're kind of jumping in. I would start off with salmon because for me, my first time I did pot cod and I failed at it. So I would start with salmon, salmon seining or gill netting to see how you can do with the elements and everything. And that's my advice.
Where speed is probably the name of the game.
Oh yeah, speed, yeah. And I mean, it's not nearly as hard as pot cod. So that's where you can see if this is really for you. Because a lot of people, they go up there and then they do the job and they're like, whoa, this really isn't for me. And it's better to do it on a salmon boat than on a cod boat.
On a summer day versus a winter day.
Right, exactly. Versus beating ice constantly and
Yeah, and then there's the sea spray.
Yeah,
that's another whole. So now, how many hours would you say you spend in a session of sea spray busting?
To be honest with you, it's actually gotten less and less each year. I've went up. I mean that's in the Opelio crab season. King crab season, no, it's not. You're also down south more. When you're going for Opelio, you're going up north. But my first year, I'd probably be beating ice. My first year, 2012, that was a really tough year. It was 5 months long with the exception of a 17-day break. We were probably beating ice roughly on average once a day, I would say, on average.
Yeah.
And then the following year, we'd probably beat ice probably 3-4 times a week.
Oh, that's not as bad then.
It got a lot better, but maybe it was because we were more down south, and so we didn't. It wasn't as cold. We weren't right next to the ice pack, and then the following year it got a little less. Maybe once or twice a week, and next couple of years it was like hardly anything. I don't know what it is, but
milder winter.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we've got to take a break, but we'll be back and we'll wrap it up with Nick Tokman.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. TLC Laser Eye Centers is now offering great prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved all-laser LASIK technology for less than what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-791-2723. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra $400 off your all-laser LASIK procedure. That's $200 off per eye. We've already performed over 2 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve for less than what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-791-2723. 1-800-791-2723.
Get to Kohl's for our best friends and family event, Thursday through Sunday. Take an extra 20% off any way you pay. Plus, Yes to You Rewards members earn triple points. And everyone gets $10 Kohl's cash for every $50 spent. Nothing but the best savings for our BFFs this weekend. Now that's the good stuff. Kohl's. Offer valid July 28th to 31st. Some exclusions apply. See store Kohl's.com for details.
The Home Depot is pouring more into paint. More washability, scrubability, and affordability. Introducing Glidden Diamond Paint and Primer starting at just $23.98 a gallon. That's up to $40 less than other paints claiming to do the same things. And it stands up to anything you throw at it, staying beautiful for up to 2,500 scrubs. We counted. Introducing Glidden Diamond Paint and Primer, starting at just $23.98 a gallon, exclusively at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. U.S. only.
All right, we're back fishing today with Nick Tokman, and we're talking about Deadliest Catch. But beyond that now, you're doing some stuff for the community, giving back when you can, and that's pretty cool. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I've been speaking, I spoke over 30 times at different schools. I spoke at several Boys and Girls Clubs, YMCAs. I guess my message is, I tell about my story about how I went from here, Western Mass, onto the Deadliest Catch, how I got on the dreamboat that got me up to Alaska. But what I tell students is, there's a message from the alchemist, is that when a person really desires something, all the universe conspires to help that person realize his dream, and I really believe that. And what I'm trying to do is I believe that there's something intrinsically inside all of us that compels us to do what we want to do. I mean, some people, they look at Deadliest Catch and they say, heck no, I don't want to do crab fishing. Maybe they want to do something else. Mm-hmm. Maybe they want to be an artist. Maybe they want to be a car mechanic. I'm telling a person to do just that, exactly what they want to do, without all the pressures of society. When in high school, you don't want to be made fun of if you're being in theater or something. And I'm saying it's okay to be you, but also do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. And then also to, not, you can actually show, it does take hard work and that perseverance, but it works.
Yeah. Whatever goal you have, don't give up on it and just give it your all. And I do feel that you will get there if it's really meant to be.
Cool. And we're going to set Nick up at a couple of schools around here and hopefully spread that message and then back to work.
Yeah, back to work. Yeah. And if anyone wants to follow me, they got me on, I have a Facebook handle, I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram. It's just Nick Sunshine Tokman for Facebook and Nick Tokman for Twitter and Instagram.
Cool, and that's Tokman, and then I'll also post the links on our site and our Facebook page as well. Yeah. So there you go. And now we're going to be fishing. We're heading out. We're going out. Thanks to Three Bells Outfitters and J&B Tackle, and we're going out in Jordan Cove. If you want to join us, we're launching at Pleasure Beach, circa 11 a.m. We're going to 11:30. Bring your kayak. And we'll go out. We'll do some fluking, hopefully some sea bassing, have fun with blues, and maybe even hit a striper, which is obviously we want to show Nick our big fish of what we do around here, and so it's new to you, right?
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I've never done kayak fishing before, but I back when I was younger, I did fish for blues, and I know they put up one heck of a fight, even though they're a little bit of a smaller fish, but I'm pumped.
Yeah, so well, maybe we'll catch some fish and go cook them up back at Three Bells Outfitters, and we'll be on the Hobies. It's foot power. We'll have some video too. We'll put some video up. We'll have the GoPros going, and we'll see if we can put some fish on deck. So join us around 11. Just head to Pleasure Beach, the boat launch down there, and bring your kayak, and we'll all go out and have a nice, fun day on the water. The weather's supposed to be nice. Just a slight chance for the thunder showers later, and we'll keep our eyes out for that as always. So thanks for joining us, everybody. As we wrap up another week, this half hour goes by too fast. All right, thanks, Nick, for joining us.
Thank you. Connection, 1310 WICH.